Welcome to How We Grow, an essential playbook to grow and scale your vacation rental business with advice and insights from the best in the biz, with your host, Lynell Gordon. Welcome to How We Grow, the vacation rental show. My guest today is Jodi Refosco, who is a friend and an amazing giant in the industry. There's so many things that you've done. I'm going to start out with, president of the Vacation Rental Managers Association. I mean, you spent so many years, 20 years in there, Jodi. That's crazy. It's a lot of time. I mean, that is. You also just recently won a prestigious award called the Heist Award. Tell me about that one. I mean, you just can't stop you from going.
You want me to go?
Yeah, tell me about it. Literally, tell me about what is the award? You said you found out about it. How?
Oh, I was in the presentation. So it's an annual Chamber of Commerce dinner. It was not this year, it was last year. And this award is given out by Martin Heist. Now, the Heist family is the ones that developed the Wisp Resort, the ski resort here locally.
Oh, okay.
And they've done a lot. So they were really big. And this is on behalf of his parents. And it's given out to one entrepreneur in the area. And it's usually like people that have been, my people I have looked up to for like years, like in business locally. So you talk about giants, these are giants in my community. So I never thought I would be like nominated, let alone chosen for this award. And it's not just me, I'm sorry, it's Joe and Chad too, the three of them.
Sure.
So like we're at dinner and you're all dressed up and my parents came. I didn't know why. Like mom wanted to come, and I'm like, Dad, why are you coming? I'm like, he never liked to do these things, and
I love
he's never
that.
going to come and see people. I'm like, oh, that's fishy, but okay. And I'm sitting there, we're listening, and Martin is like this amazing storyteller, and he starts spinning this story, and I'm starting to listen. I'm going, he's talking about, and it's like talking about a trio, one, brother and sister, and husband and wife, and I'm like listening, and I'm like, Joe, I think they're talking about like us. And he looks at me and I'm just shocked. Everybody at my table knew because there were people that nominated us. So everybody at our table knew. I did not. I had no idea. Chad wasn't even there. Chad was in St. John. Dad had Chad on a FaceTime. And Chad is sitting there like, what is going on? So yeah, it was crazy. It was a very big deal, a very huge award that was given to us. And
Well, congratulations. I'm over the moon for you. I think that's pretty amazing. You also got, like, if I recall, you got like this young entrepreneur award, like years ago you did that too. I mean, you've been winning awards since you were very young.
Not just me. I feel like it's, I am part of a group. Like my team has definitely supported us through the years, but the Young Entrepreneur Award was given out, I think, in 2010. So that was 2 years into TaylorMade. So TaylorMade started in 2008, and I started with my son, who's 14. So he was born, and I was working from the hospital bed. Like Joe had to take my laptop from me, but I was given it in 2010, and it was a massive award for me because, again, I was brand new into owning a business. I wasn't brand new to the sector, of course.
No. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a pretty cool award to get as well. So yeah.
So today we're going to talk about our theme for our episode is how to succeed at all places in your property management career, from beginning to growing to ready to sell, because you've done it all. And I know you mentioned your parents were working in the industry when you grew up. And let me ask you this: advice for people who are looking to begin this today. Is it different beginning the industry today than it was when you started?
Well, it was. So as it was different from when my parents started, right? They didn't have the internet. They were working on whiteboards.
Oh, yeah.
Reservations, right? The keys were nothing was smart. You had and you had to take them off the pegboard, right?
Exactly. You had to.
And then if you and I always I'm like, what if I came and swiped your board, Mom? Like, would you be lost? They would have been. So
I remember those days, especially.
So,
if you took the key, you had to make sure that you left a key or you made another one because you couldn't take the only key.
Correct. Absolutely. So when we started TaylorMade, social media wasn't effective. Of course, the internet wasn't effective, but social media was a big difference that was not around with my parents just a year
Mm.
earlier. So social media became a bigger deal. Airbnb, VRBO, those were a no-go. Like with dad, no go. You do not list on those sites. We built direct bookings. You built a website. You did all different types of marketing tools. When we started TaylorMade, no one knew us. So we had to use Airbnb, VRBO. And I don't think
Mhm.
we used Airbnb right away. I think it was VRBO and some others at the same time building our website, right? So when you talk about now, it's a no-brainer. You should be using all the OTAs, right? You should be on all of them. But again, what is still the same is you should still have a great website. You should still be using different marketing tools and not investing all of your money into Airbnb, VRBO, bookings.com, Expedia. Those for us fill in the gaps. You need to have a good website. You need to have a good presence. I feel like that's where you get your most loyal customers back. But it's, so that's one. And I get to ask this when I was at Verma. I always get those asked those questions. Like, if you were to start today, like, what would you do? And I'm
Right.
like, have a website. It's still important, right?
Yeah.
Be responsive to your owners and your guests. Like, be present. Some people are very complacent when it comes to those things. Still have great customer service. That none of that changed. But I
Right.
think you have to be more nimble now. Like, you can't be set in your ways. Like, this is how we do business, and this is how our cancellation policy is, and this is how our processes are. You got to be more flexible, and all of us have a hard time with that, especially that have been in the industry for a while. So I know I have my hangups too, but like all of us have a hard time with that. Revenue management, it is a no-brainer that you should be doing
Right.
revenue management. That was not a thing when we started in 2008. I literally just did my rates myself. Like, but they never changed. They were set rates and they didn't change. And then I would do the rates for the next year, like in
Hmm.
April, and do them for the following year. Now you have to have revenue management. You need a good tool to help you work on, dynamic pricing. And you
Yeah.
have real true dynamic pricing because, on the OTAs, like they're doing it. You can do like all some of the big guys out there are doing it. So it's important to have revenue management under, your thumb. Um, but you don't have to be like before, like I was in Deep Creek, of course, and I couldn't do a company because I wasn't hands-on. I think now there's tools out there, like I could have a company like thousands of miles away and still be able to run it with local boots on the ground there. I think there's difference with the technology we have now. Um, I still think you need property management software. That's been a question I've been asked.
Yeah, of
It's like
course.
some things you think are no-brainers,
Of
but
course.
new people don't know that.
What
But
PMS do you guys use?
currently I'm on track.
Okay.
Currently I'm on track, and that was with the merger. That all their systems are on track.
Hmm.
I've used I have used almost I
Ah,
feel like almost everything. Like we
yeah.
can go back to First Resort. Was it
Yes.
First Resort? Property
Property
Plus,
Plus.
Scabia,
Oh, it's
Streamline, and now Track. Everybody's like,
wow.
so, who likes to switch property management software? Said no one ever.
No one ever. No
No
one
one.
ever.
And there's
Mm-mm.
not one that's the best and the bomb. You just got to figure it out. Like some of them are going to have different like attributes that are better than others. But there's no
Hmm.
perfect management software out there. There just isn't. And
There
you have
and
to
there won't be. There
no.
can't be because everybody does business a little differently in different areas of the world. And so everybody needs a little something different, I guess.
Yeah, and that's okay. And so you got to be able to stay on top of those things. So going to conferences like Verma, and there's a slew of them out there that you get involved in talking to the vendors and seeing what other people have to provide. And if you're a small company and you have only a few homes, you still have there's software for you.
Yes.
You don't, there's a la carte software, there's software made for you. You just got to get out there and be asking the questions and interviewing different vendors. But, I think there's a lot more offering now than there was before. The other one is that's different is we always had keyless lock. So when we started, you didn't when I was at my old company with mom, right? We were
Right.
getting into it, but
Yeah.
still had keys and still had check-ins.
Hmm.
I was that original key girl for my mom and dad. Like I had key packets and
Uh-huh.
I had to stand at the front desk and say the
You
same thing
stuff
over and
them and
over
hand it
again.
to them. Yeah.
Yeah, for like 4 hours.
Yes.
Uh-uh. I got rid of it. As soon as we started TaylorMade, we're like keyless locks in all of our properties. We are not, we're not doing check-ins or
No.
check-outs. Get rid of that process. And then what we started to do is the smart home technology roll in, right? Like the thermostats. So that's new. So, and there's a lot of new things that we haven't tried yet that if you're just starting, it's a little bit easier to get into.
Let me ask you this about keyless entry.
Yeah.
Everyone was so afraid that with keyless that you would lose touch with the guest. Do you remember that? That was the biggest
Yes.
argument against it. That just
Yes.
didn't happen.
So interesting. I'm the one, like when I started TaylorMade, I'm like, it's not going to happen. It's
Mhm.
not going to happen because the guests still can't get into the house unless you let them in. And the same thing would happen if they had a key, right? They're going to get to the house, the housekeeper's there, they're going to ask to get in. It's going to be the same thing. Their lock now doesn't activate till check-in. So they're not going to be able to get in unless the housekeeper lets them in, just like they would have done with the key. I had that conversation a million times.
I
And
bet you still have it.
I still have it. I don't
Yeah, I
do
bet
check.
you do. Yeah.
I said, no, it is a waste of time. Now you should have lots of touch points between um
Texting.
now and the arrival, and you could do that with notifications, and you could do all that stuff, and you could have those touch points to give the communication of directions, things to bring, activities going on. Like you still should have notifications arrival, that it's so it replaces the information you give them to them. Now the other one I hear is you're not going to have that touch point with them in your office.
Right. I
Well,
hear
I
that
like to
too.
tell you, since COVID, they don't want to come into your office.
No, I guess not. No.
They don't. I mean, I'm like, I have a really cool cooler. You can come and get it. No, they're not coming into my office. So it has its good and bads, right? Because then you can't really judge who's going to go into your home, right? You don't get that face to face, like, yeah, I'm gonna go watch that house. Right? Like
And
you
what
don't get.
about your touch points when you're there, when they're there?
So you should have notifications. So first off, I learned this from my good friends at Finger Lakes back in the day. Like in your house, you need branding
Yes.
because only the contract holder knows you really, right? But there's a lot of other people. So you need stuff in your house that says your company, it says the property name, and you can go from like phone tags to magnets on the refrigerator to guest books to all that kind of stuff, but you should have branding of some kind. Like we have signs, but not all of our houses, because of the neighborhoods, can have property signs, right?
Right.
So you need to have branding. We use a company that also, like when you sign in on the internet,
Mhm.
you it goes to a specific property page for
Yes.
that property. So everyone,
Yes.
not
I like
just the
that company
contract
too.
holder.
Yes.
Well, and you know what we've done, because ever since COVID, all your second homers came up and now they're here more often than they ever
Mhm.
were before.
Mhm.
And so it's not like you've had different issues with guests, it's that now your neighbors are there longer. And
Right.
so we have to be better at communicating to our guests how to be a good neighbor. Like,
Mhm.
I know you're on vacation and we all like to have a good time, but your neighbors don't need to hear about your good time at 12 o'clock at night, right?
Exactly.
So not everybody knows that there might be a noise ordinance, only the contract holder.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. Everyone knows. And if you sign on the internet, everyone gets house rules.
I
So
love
there's
that.
things,
It's a good idea.
yeah, there's technology that's definitely helped. So I mean, you try to be as efficient as you can, but technology has definitely helped. But technology still doesn't replace the human touch in hospitality. And
Yeah, it
so
never will. Never will. We
it
can't.
won't. And like you need people to answer telephones, they're empathetic to situations, and you need response
You
time
could
on your.
just stop there. You need people to answer telephones.
Oh, right.
I mean,
And
seriously, so many times I've called. I mean, I do a lot of vacation rentals myself as I travel. I like that. And so many times nobody answers the
well, yeah, I could tell you a story, and I'm not going to mention where I bought a house and wanted to put it on a vacation rental market, and they wouldn't return my
phone.
call or my email, or I even walked into
Oh,
the
thank
office
you.
and they didn't even want to talk to me. They only want to talk to me after I purchased the property.
Hmm.
Guess what? I'm not using them.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No,
No. So I wanted
no.
somebody, and then I met this other person, and Joe and I went to interview him, and he's like, I don't even know why I came, because like we hit it off. Like
Oh, how
she dug
nice.
my energy. Like she was awesome. So anyway, it's important it's being present, and that means on the phone or in person, by email, by text, whatever it is, you
Real
need to be
people.
present.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hospitality. I mean, you want people to feel welcome. And I think sometimes some companies waver from that, and that's unfortunate.
Well, I think our biggest expense in business is always going to be people. Doesn't matter what we do.
Yeah.
So
Good
that
people.
may be the reason that some people waver, but and you can get technology that actually will do a lot of the back end and the work part of it, but you can't find something that says hello in a nice kind way. So I agree with you. So the other questions I think that we wanted to talk about today, you've done a great job of talking about keeping your guest happy. When do you say, okay, I think it might be time to sell? How do you know? Are you looking at your P&L, your EBITDA, and you're saying, okay, my EBITDA is at this particular place. I think I can get this X. Let's go ahead and sell. Or is it opportunity that comes up? Or is it because you're not tired? I know you're not. You were excited. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you have 3 other businesses in the works. But tell me why. Well, what was about it that was time? Somebody make you a great offer, or did you
Oh,
let people know you were interested, or what?
that's a hard conversation to have. So everybody, I think when I sold and when it was out, Amy Hynek posted, I think the whole world went upside down. I felt like because like they all called, and it was like in one evening. And honestly, we sold, we posted. I was heading out of town to Key Largo, like I'm like, or Key West. I'm like, I'm out.
Mhm.
But it's a hard question. So one, I have partners, right? And you have to respect partners. Was I ever ready to say, "Hey, I'm done"? No, no. Mm-mm. I love what I do. I love hospitality. I love my
Yeah,
staff. I
yeah.
love Deep Creek. I love everything about it. But COVID was tough, right?
Mhm.
Liability is hard. Risk
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
hard. And
Mhm.
people that have not owned a company and understand that you lay everything on the line on a daily basis
That's true.
don't really understand the background to that. And so it did lift a weight off us. I will tell you though, we had a couple offers, and um, Milo basically, I worked with Ben Edwards. He told Milo, you better put an offer out there that Jody's not going to bat an eye at. And that's kind of how it started because I wasn't ready and it had to
Yeah.
be something that was worth it for me.
Right.
And Chad and Joe, like they still, don't get me wrong, they love what they do too. But I mean, we all handle stress differently. And all of that, like all of us do. I have
Right.
been very fortunate in the last 14 years that I had both of them. Like people are like, how did you grow a company and raise kids? I
Mhm.
mean, I have 2 children and I work constantly. And
Yeah.
I was like, I had Chad and Joe. I had a balance.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people can make it. Like during COVID, do you know how many people I talked to off the fence?
Mm.
It was a daily conversation with some other owner of a rental company so they didn't lose it because
Mm.
there was so much going on. And I was lucky that I had Chad and Joe to bounce these things off of, right? Not many people in this industry have partners
No,
like
and
that.
very capable partners. You have very capable people that are smart and also work very hard.
Yeah.
So
So,
not a lot of people can say that either.
right. And so it kind of all came together at one time that it made sense. I mean, last year, come on, we all had a unicorn year. All of us did, right? It was
Yay.
crazy. Like I feel like I didn't see daylight for like a year and a half. It was nuts.
I still feel
Uh,
that way.
right.
I
Well,
do.
now I feel it differently. It's just a change, but so it's a hard, and I think this could be a whole. I could talk hours upon like things that I've learned about selling, things I wish I didn't do, things I wish I did do, but
Write
you
a
have to
book.
make, yeah, and you got to make a decision. Um, if you're going down that path, it was easier for Chad and Joe than it was for me. And I still struggle with it because it's hard. Like when somebody finally tells you no, you can't do something, I'm like, whoa, what do you mean no? Like, what? But yes, it's on the company, right?
Yeah.
They could tell you no, and it's hard. And so a lot of people I've seen that sold, they out they go, they left. I'm still here.
I'm with you. I don't mind working for someone else. Honestly, it's not a big deal for me. As long as there's collaboration. I think if someone just said no without people have made really unwise decisions, I think, but hey, in the long run, it's what's good for the
Yeah,
big company. And
it
that
is.
I think is when people sell, I think before they sell, they need to understand that that is a part of it too, Jody. You know, they're looking at for the whole of the
Right.
company, and that may not be what's best for you. It may be what's best for the team and the whole company. But I think people that sell to large companies like you have, and like people that sell to Vacasa, I mean, it's a different mindset.
It is.
There's a
And
lot of moving parts.
you gotta try to wrap your head around it sometimes, because like you go from being like I'm mom and pop, even though I was a large mom and pop, I
Hmm.
was still like locally owned, family ran to a corporation. It's definitely different.
Yeah,
And but, good, bad, or indifferent, it's what we did, and it's where we are, and I'm still at, and happy, and things are moving forward. But have I slowed down? Everybody's like, so did you take a break? I'm like, no, I think he has me working more. Um, but I'm a busybody, so like, am I still involved with Verma? Yes, I'm still the membership chair. I still served on the LDC. I still wasn't, am involved in my like I was just at the Chamber of Commerce today for their board meeting. Like
that's
I'm still
important.
involved. Yeah.
Tell people why it's important that they belong to their local board of their local chamber, their local travel tourism board. Why is that important?
Well, okay. Well, a couple things is one, you need to be involved with the businesses locally with you. They support you and you support them. The chamber also, like, they do a lot of different marketing initiatives that you should be aware of, and where, you could also drive that conversation. Like for years, I was in the marketing committee going, why are you advertising in a design magazine in Pittsburgh? That's not going to get you any traffic for vacation rentals and tourism in Garrett County. So like there's a lot of things that you can drive because you see it personally. But it's also keeps you connected, regulations, advocacy, restrictions, all of that, because they're going to support you.
Hmm.
We had a massive issue recently with our state fire marshal. And today, when I went to the chamber, they were talking to me about how they're bringing in a lobbyist, and they want, give us a, because it's probably going to go to legislation eventually, but like give us any wording that you need. Like they're supporting us because they know our industry is very important to the tourism locally. And so you need that mix, right? As a company and you're growing, you need the support of your local chamber of commerce or tourism bureau. It's extremely important. We've been involved. I backed out a bit and had some of my staff do it when I was on the board for VRMA, because I
Hmm.
just couldn't juggle all of it
Yeah.
and raise kids and run a
No,
company.
no, I understand. I get
Mhm.
that. Oh,
And so, but it is so important. And then when you have regulations or restrictions that come down, you have a foot or a seat at the table. So like when there were increased taxes, like they came to us and we had like a legitimate conversation about like, well, if you're going to change taxes, are you going to put the money back into tourism? Are you going to help support it? You know, but there you have a seat at the table, you have a conversation. They don't just skip over you, and they listen. Like we're very much involved with our county commissioners. When COVID happened, and we were shut down, we worked with the health department and the county commissioners, and we educated them on what we were doing.
right.
And they're like, oh my gosh, by hands down, once governor gives you the A-OK, we're going to support an opening you. Like you want to be involved, because if you're not involved, you're not crafting the conversation. You're not able to like right that ship. You're not involved at all. So just get involved, raise your hand. I'm going to be speaking at VRMA um, on advocacy, on how you can be an advocate for your own industry and your community. But you just got to be involved, and it takes
And-
some work.
Yeah, and I know I hear that. I hear that from a lot of property managers, and that's exactly why. And I think that sometimes we neglect those things because we're so busy, but you can't go backward in that. Once something is legislated or something is decided from those, you can't go back and say, "Hey, I disagree," or that. You need to be on the level there that you can help make change and guide it, like you say.
Yeah, that's right, because you're guiding the
That's
change and what's
right.
going to move forward. I mean, that's my dad, when they started doing regulations here in the 2006, dad helped craft it because they were going to make tougher regulations, and dad
Right.
got involved, and they didn't know half the things that we already did that they thought they were making us do. We
Ah,
already did them.
I
So be
see.
a part of that conversation and educate. Like I've gone to HOA meetings and educated. Like they, for some reason, sometimes neighbors think that you're just shoving people into homes so you can make more money. No, no, we're not gonna. No, we don't want party groups. I gotta clean it up. I was like, they'll tear my house apart. So they don't realize all the efforts you do behind the scenes, and sometimes they just need to be educated on it.
How We Grow has partnered with Rental Guardian to bring the vacation rentals market custom protection products built for the needs of the vacation rental industry. Enjoy complete protection for both your travelers and your owners via the industry's leading travel, damage, and liability protection products. Learn more about the travel tech industry's most advanced travel and damage protection platform and API at rentalguardian.com. Another thing to think about with HOAs, just recently came up with actually with me personally, is the HOA managers. They're the ones pushing very hard for us to have regulations to take the short-term rentals out. I was like, excuse me, you're not a part of this community. What?
Yep.
I mean, I was really surprised. And I don't quite understand that dynamic yet, I admit, but that was very interesting to me.
No, I can
Um,
tell you, I've seen it because they're the ones who have to deal with it. So they get the calls from the neighbors, and so they don't
mm,
want to have the hassle, so they push for that. I had it here. I had a lady who was putting like towing stickers on cars that shouldn't be towed, and she was harassing our staff. And like I had another owner, he put a lawsuit like cease and assist, like stop, because she was an HOA manager. She didn't live there.
I know.
Just
I'm
she's
like,
just she needed a hobby.
I didn't think about it being more work for them. That didn't occur to me, but they're the ones that are recommending things to
Mhm.
the homeowners.
Yep,
So
yep.
we have to be involved with that. Um, I wanted to ask too, so skill set for people that are in their career. Okay, so for people who are different levels, let's talk about people who have they're managers, they're managing their homes, and they wonder if they're doing it right. The easiest place to get education and information is going to be
Burma.
Burma, right? Yeah, it really is. I know people hate to go to conferences because and this is a big one, but honestly, it really provides the education that you need on different pieces.
And that's just not for new people. I mean, people that have been in this industry have to be educated on the changes that are happening around you. You can't
Hmm.
sit blind to them.
Yeah,
Um, so you're learn if you stop going for a couple years, you'll find yourself so far behind on the technology basis. And
that's
there's
true.
other ones like
So
so
true.
Burma right now in Los Angeles. I mean, there's gonna be like 2,500, 3,000 people. That's a lot.
That
But
is
there's
a lot of people.
a lot. Like when I spoke when I was president, I think we were at 2,200, and that was a lot. And now bouncing back after COVID, that's massive. And
Wow.
so, but there are smaller ones. Like they have connects. Like we're hosting our first annual one, Mid Atlantic one, December 5th in Annapolis. But
Oh,
there, yeah, it's
I
new.
didn't know we were doing that again.
Yeah,
Cool.
uh,
I like
yeah.
those. They're
I can
smaller. I like
drive.
those.
Like I can drive. I'm so excited. I can't drive anywhere. I have to fly everywhere.
Oh, well, you're in Deep Creek. Yes, I know. I want to talk a little bit about upon your introduction. I
Mhm.
should have talked a little bit about the business, um, the size of your business, so that people have a little bit of background. So
Okay.
let me say that Tailor Made Deep Creek, it's a premier property management company in your area. I mean, it really is remarkable. It also has a real estate division, and there are how many 400 over 475 is what I've got in my notes. What do you?
514 homes. Yeah.
That's what you do homeowner acquisition like nobody else. You it's like walk in and steal. I'm just telling you, if there's a house, it's yours. They're located less than 3 hours from Baltimore, Washington Metro, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. It's a four-season vacation destination. It's awesome. Hey guys, it snows there in October, and then it warms
I,
up. I've been there in October, and then it warms up, and they have the cool. If you want to go in October, they have these Halloween things that I personally have been to that are like fun, scary, but they're fun. They are
Yeah, they're
scary.
going tonight. I can't go. They're going tonight.
Oh,
Yeah, we
that's so
have
much
super
fun.
fun here in Deep Creek, and it's all outdoors. It's like it's a four seasons. You got skiing in the winter, you got boating in the summer, you
It's
got hiking,
beautiful. Oh,
mountain biking. It's a
God,
great
it's
place
so
to
good.
raise children. Like it's Deep Creek's. I when we started coming here, I lived outside of Baltimore, so we had a boat on the bay. So mom wanted the mountains, so dad had to sell the boat on the bay for the first house in the mountains, and then dad just got a smaller boat. And
Ah,
then, so it was like 3.5 hours, because I was on the other side of Baltimore. But if you're coming from this side of Baltimore, DC's even closer, 2.5 hours. Pittsburgh's 2 hours. Um,
mhm.
so no, it's really close to a lot, and it's a fun area, and I'm very lucky to live here and work
It's
here. And
beautiful.
I got
Food there is good. I mean, they have great restaurants, great
yeah,
local little dives too. I love your area. I think it's beautiful. I used to live in Aberdeen, Maryland. So
yeah. That was did we talk about that before? I
maybe
grew up in
not.
Falston.
I didn't know that.
Yes, Aberdeen was down the road.
Wow. Yeah, my dad was a chaplain in the army and we were stationed in Aberdeen.
Aberdeen Proving Grounds.
That's where I lived. Yeah. Right
I
before I
didn't know that.
went overseas. Yeah. I love that area though. It's got everything. It's got a little of everything. But I love the fall there. Your fall is just stunning.
It was
Um,
last weekend. We had our big #1 festival, Autumn Glory. It was so pretty here. It was beautiful, like 60-degree weather, and the trees were all
mm,
popping. Then we got snow, and like the leaves are dropping.
the snow, it's really pretty in the snow too. I've seen it in the snow too. And it's really nice. And you guys, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful area. Um, if there was, okay, you have to tell me your homeowner story. We're going to do a guest story. Then we're going to do a homeowner story. So tell me your funniest guest story because I love the funny ones. The bad
So,
ones are always bad. So let's just do funny.
well, I mean, it's bad, but it's funny. It's funny bad. Like I'm sure we all can go over like crazy stories we've had. Like I had a guy that called and wanted to sue us because we needed to pay for his broken propeller because he hit a stump under the lake, and we should have given him a map of all the
The
things under
stumps.
the lake. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't think anyone knows where everything is. I mean, you should be watching your level, where the level of the lake, or like, yeah.
Depth
And
finder, maybe?
depth dive. He took a picture of him standing on the stump and gave it to us. I'm like, tallest man walks on water, Deep Creek Lake. So like, of course, that was our amusement and off. I mean, I could go on. Like a good story is I had a guest that stayed with us all the time,
Mhm.
and we even did a video testimonial, and then he bought a house. Now
Aw.
he's one of our owners.
Aw.
Yeah,
Well,
and then
congratulations.
I have a funny owner story.
Oh.
It's not funny when you fire someone. When you get to fire him twice, it's even funnier. So like I had to fire an owner because him and her, like they were very nasty. He would
Mm.
stay in the like apartment above the garage between rentals and use the kitchen and then tell us we didn't clean because he was using the kitchen. And then he would walk behind my inspectors and my cleaners. And I'm like, we can't do this. Like,
Oh,
you cannot do that. He was mad,
creepy.
very. So we fired him. He went over to another rental company. Years later, I ended up buying So Rental Company, and I had to tell him I had to fire him again. Best part, best
I'll bet
part.
it was. I'll bet it was.
It was
I'll
pure
bet it was.
satisfaction. That was the best part. But like when I talk about owners, we always ask our owners to do testimonials. It's amazing what they will say about you. So if you guys out there have not done an owner testimonial, and you could use it with your own phone, you don't have to have crazy equipment. Just let them talk, and it's crazy what they'll say because they really want to promote you if they love you.
If they love you. Yes, of
But
course.
most of them do. At the end of the day, they're not with you otherwise, right? And so to hear the stories about, I have owners that were with me when I was with my parents. So
Oh,
they literally did watch me grow up. And
yeah.
like they know my company is as old as my son. So they remember Brody in a car seat sitting next to me while I'm working and taking reservations, like
That's
in
awesome.
2009.
That's
So
awesome.
it's yeah. And then my employees, like I'd be amiss not to mention them. Like my employees are rock stars. I just went away with three of them. We went down and did a girls trip at Bethany Beach from Brooke Fouts let us
Oh,
stay at his house. Pretty awesome.
wow. I love that area.
It was gorgeous, but yeah, I got to get away with them and spend time. It's one on one. I mean, I've worked with them for like 20 years. So like,
So the average length of your employees, from what I've read, is 5 years. That's just an average. That's
yeah,
crazy.
I had employees that watched me go through college. Like,
Wow.
yeah. So no, my employees are core of this company. they've stuck with us through everything. I mean, we're very, very lucky.
One of the things that I know personally that you excel at um, is owner acquisition. I know that you are great at that. I remember thinking about some of the stats about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, some of the stats that you were having when you were growing like exponentially. Tell me what do you feel? What can you tell other people about that to be help them be more successful because you were like rocking it off the charts.
Be original, be creative, be honest,
Be
uh,
honest. Yeah.
be honest. Don't so many companies, and I know out there you guys do it. They they increase their projections by a percentage, and they should not, and I never did. So if I lose an owner, I usually gain them back later because my numbers were accurate.
Mm,
Um, I was always available to them, even on a weekend. Even when I had the kids, Joe would take the kids and I would run to meet them. I always went out of my way. I always made sure they felt comfortable and welcome. I mean, this is one of their probably like the first or second biggest investment of their lives.
right, of course. Of
And
course.
they want to be comfortable with who they're putting this in their hands of, right?
Mhm.
So I always was that, but be creative. Like one of my favorite ones I did was fortune cookies. Now, when you do food, you got to make sure you mail prompto, right? So we did fortune cookies and then put like specific fortunes in each fortune cookie.
That's
I've done,
amazing.
it was so cute. Of course, we've done postcards, and I think I started the conversation in postcards at Verma, I don't know, 10 years ago. And then we
Mhm.
started doing postcards. And I still think postcards do work. The best one I had was a magnet on it. That worked really well. But now you can use QR codes and stuff to like kind of gauge postcards, because postcards are different than like an email where you can see if they opened it and stuff like that, right? So just try to way to capture it, but be original and be different. The word I used earlier today is be specific and be intentional. Like,
Mhm.
don't throw something together at the whim. Like you need to really think it through what you're offering. If you're
Mhm.
offering, what's your niche? What makes you different? What makes you stand out? And then be able to back that up. Like be able to have that conversation with someone. And you need to have someone that's really good with speaking with others. Now I've always done it myself, and I now have a team that does it with me. Um, but I always was by I always brought in literally every owner.
Yeah.
I think Chad got a few, and he would tell you that too. Uh, or like they went to happy hour and met an owner, and they know those owners too. Like they'll tell me, like, we got this one. I'm like, okay, you could
How do
take
you
that.
train your team?
So I've had them go with me on meetings. I've had them sit and listen to me talk to owners. I put a lot of collateral together that can go out.
Mm,
But my team has been the team that works with me has been working with me for 6 to 20 years.
wow.
So they know the
Wow.
culture of the company, they know what we can offer,
They understand.
they understand it. And so owners they'll have a slew of questions. So like other things like first of all, like you got to figure out how to make the phone ring. I haven't done an owner acquisition session in so long, and I should. You got to figure out how to
Yeah.
make that phone ring. Once it rings, how do you make the sale? And then how do you follow up? Like I always talked about my drip campaigns. I had different personas for different owners, and I still do. And they all had different messaging because it depends on the different persona. To give you an example, you have an owner that's never rented before,
Mhm.
very green, right? They first investment property, they want to rent it. They've heard about Airbnbs. And so you got to figure out how they understand what goes on. You got to talk about everything. And they really just care about management fee too. Like they don't understand the other things they should be asking.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
getting an owner from another rental company, they know there's more to ask. So
Right.
they're going to want to know about fees. What's your technical fees? Like what type of marketing? Where are you marketing? What's pulling the number one reservations? Do you get company repeats? So you have to give them different messaging, right? So
Right.
that's more detailed on the maintenance side. They want to know about services. So you have to learn how to, and once you figure that out, then you can have a drip campaign set up that will go out to the different personas. And it's like, because all of us are busy, right? I wear so many hats. I
Yeah.
couldn't keep reminding myself to call back an owner. So this did it for you.
Oh,
And
that's
so,
great.
and you could do frequencies. There's all kinds of systems out there you can use now, but you could do it like a email that goes out right away, 3 days, 7 days, 10 days, 14 days, 3 months, 9 months, have a breakup email. Say, obviously, you're not interested, let us know in the future if you want me to
Right.
stop sending you emails. We all
Please
hate those.
unsubscribe.
Yeah, there's all those emails that just keep coming and you just like delete. Like, hey, it's okay. I'm good with that. So there's a lot with owner acquisition. I do adore it. I love working with people. I love working with owners. I love to show them how like they can maximize their revenue. So that's
Mhm.
another thing that that kind of person needs to know is like what works in your area, what kind of updates should they do? Do you have connections with furniture companies, decorators? You know, for a while, I feel like I was picking out paint color and all that stuff. I have no time for that. I love that, but I just don't have time for that. I need to work with people that have time for that. Um, so anyway, no, owner acquisition is, and it's very important to growth. When we sold our company, I think I was at 457 and we're sitting at 514 right now. And that was not even a year ago. And that's net positive. You got to think about that because you always will get the owners that leave or whatnot or sold their property. So, but no, owner acquisition, you need a really good person in there that's like very dedicated and very involved. But you can craft all kinds of really cool messaging that will make you stand out from the crowd and what everybody else is getting.
That is enormous growth. That's
Mm.
truly enormous growth. Good for you and good for, you know, good for your company. I'm just saying, obviously. So, is there, give me, what advice would you give someone who wants to sell their company? They want to
Oh,
sell it. They're
they
not
want to
wondering.
sell, they're ready to get out. Do your research. Every company out there offers something different. Also prepare what your exit's going to be like, right? Are you a hands-on owner? Or are you owner that kind of has people running it for you, which is easier to
Mhm.
because you want to set up the company to be to keep going, right? To
To
be
succeed,
prosperous.
sure.
So to succeed. So there's things that you should put into play there. But do your research. I got a broker to help me. I don't know how everybody else is, but I mean, there was things that I didn't that went way above my head that are asked. And you talk about some of this stuff and you talk about EBITDA and all that. That was all new to me. I mean, I heard it, but I didn't understand what it meant for my company at the end of the day.
Sure.
And so do your research, talk to people that companies have bought and ask them how it's going. Is there changes? Is there success stories?
Mhm.
But do your research. Don't be hasty. It's your baby. You do want it to succeed beyond you. And so you didn't spend all your time and all your life, work to like have it fail. So do your
Right.
research. There's a lot of different companies out there and they offer different things, all of them. And I think there's a lot of opportunity if you're looking to sell. There's a lot of people looking to buy, but
That's true.
all of them are different. And so just research.
There you go. Well, is there anything else you want to say to anyone
No,
who
I'm excited you invited me. I
I'm
was
so happy you said yes. I mean, honestly, the success story that you have is remarkable. It really is. It's
well,
I'm never surprised to see what the next thing you do is because you succeed at everything you do. You do. And with being a mom and a wife, and I know you're a good sister. I see your pictures on Facebook.
well, I'm very lucky because like I said, you can't do this without a good support team. And I had, of course, my brother, my husband, but I also had my family, and I had my employees. Like we're lucky. Like I've seen some like people were hurting for employees. Now we're all hurting for employees, but we weren't as bad off as some other companies were. We have our core and we take care of them.
One of
And
the other things I think that's unique, you do take care of your employees, but you also do things like you don't care what the box says, especially like when it comes, and I'm just going to say this, when it comes to things like housekeeping and the way you run your housekeeping team. You don't care how anybody else does it. This is what works for you. You actually stagger in the winter. You stagger your housekeeping so that you don't have to clean it all in one day and you keep a team year round. You don't have to hire all the seasonal help like everybody else does. You
no,
actually have a team and you have it set to where you know exactly what you have to do.
yeah, but we also offer services to non-renting homes, which is why we're able to do year round. So like we're always cleaning those homes, right? It's not seasonal. So
Right.
by being smart in your area, you can do that too. Like in our area, it's not mostly rentals, it's mostly second homeowners that don't.
Mhm.
And so you can have services. Your guy cleaning the hot tub is probably next door to a house and it's not costing you much more for him to walk next door and clean that too.
But
So
think out of the box.
Yep. And you can, I mean, honestly, the way we started our company was with property services because that was immediate cash flow, right? Whereas rentals, like I could open my doors today, but that rental's not coming in for 3 months.
Right.
That's not your cash for 3 months. So you need money to make that flow. So you got to be smart on what services you can offer. And that's what we did. And it helped out. And that's also, it's a feeder. It's a feeder to the rental market, because once they buy it, they're like coming up all the time. They're on a ski team. Now the kids are like in wrestling and they can't come up years later. So now they're going to put on the rental market. So it's a feeder market.
Mm-hmm. Just like the real estate sales.
That too.
The
Yes.
services and the real estate sales, they do feed. They feed both ways.
Mhm.
Well, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yes.
I'll see you on the golf course.
Yeah, I'll be selling raffle tickets. Buy the raffle tickets.
We have so much fun at Verma. If you don't come to Verma, please come to Verma. There's just there are relationships that you make with people that are in the know that will last you your whole career. It will.
And that's how it's been for me. And these people are with you thick and thin. Like you can ask them questions. When I started this industry, and I'll be honest, I could not go to my parents. They had a non-compete, non-advise, non-solicit. People from this industry through Verma sent me Word documents of all the procedures, contracts, policies, so that I could change it to fit Maryland and put my logo on it. Like there's not many industries that you would have people that would do that. And it's crazy that this industry and the members of Verma are so giving. And people are
Yes.
like, why do you give? I'm like, I got to give back, because these people were amazing to help me start my company. So it's all about the networks, and these people are my lifelong friends.
So if you go to VRMA, if you have questions really about property management, you come to VRMA. There are so many people willing to help you. And if they don't know, they'll point you to the right direction. If you want to sell your company, we can tell you who you need to talk to broker the deal, people that we've seen been successful over the years. It is really it's a great place. I've got to get on a committee at some point.
Do you want membership committee?
Yes. Yeah, I'd love it. Oh, yeah. And talk to people that are prospective members. I would love to do that. I used to do ambassador years ago. I'd love to be on that. Hit me up.
Look, I did the part of my job. I got a new member committee.
Thanks again, Jodi. Big hugs to the family. And say hi to everyone.
Thank you for having me, and I will.
Thanks. This episode of How We Grow is brought to you by Rental Guardian. To find out more about how Rental Guardian can help grow your vacation rental business, visit rentalguardian.com. Make sure to search for How We Grow in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or anywhere else podcasts are found, and hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. On behalf of the team here at Inhabit, thanks for listening.